Let's go now to Japan, where we got a close-up look today for the first time at the crippled and leaking nuclear reactors at Fukushima. They are a maze of twisted metal and shattered concrete, and they are still a long way from safe. But what exactly did the pictures tell us? Here's 6 p.m.'s Emily Rice.
The footage is difficult to watch and even harder to digest.
You feel really sick in your guts, I have to say, at a personal level, to see these complex, large facilities that contain so much radioactivity so damaged.
The power company released pictures showing the dangerous mess multiple explosions at the Fukushima plant have caused a week on from the earthquake and tsunami. The International Atomic Energy Agency is monitoring the situation minute by minute. Radiation is high, but not at levels harmful to human health.
The situation remains very serious.
It's still dire, it's still unprecedented, it's still unstable.
This tiny glow is a big worry. Experts believe it could be the surface of a storage pool, white hot with radioactive fuel rods.
The pond in Reactor 4 is a cause of very considerable concern.
Recent explosions have damaged the deep ponds which store the spent fuel. These are outside the containment of the structure and now exposed. As the water boils, the level drops off, and this will cause the highly radioactive fuel to overheat.
The heat continues to generate. That will generate hydrogen with the oxidation reaction, and that may lead to more fires and explosions.
The power company is still trying desperately to keep the reactors cool with aerial water dumps and the help of the fire department. Workers are also risking their lives trying to restart cooling pumps. Scrutiny of the company's operations now and prior to the disaster is increasing. A report and presentation by the Tokyo Electric Power Company just 4 months ago revealed it was running out of storage space for its radioactive waste, and there were plans to send the spent fuel rods to an off-site storage facility in the country's north by next year. Even if a meltdown is averted, it will take weeks for the reactors to cool. The United States is bringing in unmanned drones for an aerial assessment and will bring its citizens out if needed.
We do have a responsibility to take prudent and precautionary measures to educate those Americans who may be endangered by exposure to radiation.
The Thai government has organised evacuation flights, and Australians are urged to get out as supplies run low and concerns over radiation exposure rises. English teacher Peter Williams and his pregnant wife took that advice, leaving their Japanese home 60 kilometres from the plant. Today they were relieved to be back on solid ground.
People were fleeing. Even at the airport there were Australians from different parts of Japan also wanting to leave.
But the English teacher wants to return as soon as possible to support family and friends.
So I'm hoping that all settles down over there, of course, for everybody over there, and hopefully I can go back and try and pick up the pieces for where we left off.
He's not the only one praying for the people of Japan.
Well, CNN correspondent Stan Grant has been covering the crisis in Tokyo. Stan, a lot of evidence of fear among the people there across Japan and Tokyo as well. What are the facts as opposed to the fears at the moment?
Well, the facts are, and this is what we hear from the government constantly, Hugh, is that the radiation levels consistently have not been at a point where they would cause widespread damage to human health. That's what they're saying, but people are not interpreting that way. They see explosions, they see fires, they hear about mass evacuations, 200,000 people moved out of a 20-kilometre radius. They hear about workers within the plant themselves being evacuated. They hear about these radiation levels peaking and dropping. They're not quite sure what to believe. What is in this radioactive material? I think what's happening here is that information is coming too slowly, it's not enough detail in it, and people are filling those information gaps with fear. There's a real trust deficit emerging here, Hugh.
Well, probably more than any other people on Earth, the Japanese are famously respectful of authority. Are we actually seeing here a breakdown in the trust there, and that's feeding into a sense of panic and doubt among the Japanese population at large?
I don't think you can apply any normal analysis to this, because these are increasingly, exceedingly abnormal times. First, a massive earthquake, the like of which they haven't seen, a huge tsunami, widespread destruction, then a nuclear crisis on top of that. You get the triple whammy. Now, it is true that people normally have a respect for authority, but at the same time, it's also culturally true that a lot of the Japanese people in authority don't like to give an answer until they know what that is, in case they have to retract. So there are different expectations of what people should be thinking. thinking, what people should be believing, and what the government should be telling them. There are cultural issues here exacerbated by the sense of crisis. Hugh?
Must be terrible anxiety for everyone there trying to figure out whether their children are safe. On that information, Stan Grant, stay safe as always. Good to talk to you.